Long time, my brother. I put my drone in a tree yesterday. I had to fell the tree to get it down. Oh yeah, so it's got a couple of broken propellers, but it should be okay. It was fun. It was funny and sad at the same time. I sure hope it's okay. Do you think Bitcoin's finally doing its job now? Now that they're printing money and bailing out all these banks? What if it's happening? What if Bitcoin's finally doing its job? But on the flip side of that, it could just start ripping too. Like it just could start its next bull market at any point because, like I said, fiat's heading into hyperinflation. So I think this is what's happening. It's finally breaking away from the correlation with the stock market. I hope. I don't think things are going to melt down though. That's the thing is I think it's all melt up now. I don't know if anything's going to crash now. I think it might be straight into hyperinflation. It's hard to say. If if the world reserve currency starts hitting even high inflation, Bitcoin's just going to rocket and silver and gold. Mhm. Yeah, it's everything nowadays is unprecedented. So they're trying this modern monetary theory. They're trying it, and it's not working. They're trying to tame inflation on one side by lifting interest rates, and then they're just printing a bunch of money on the other with the other hand, thinking that somehow they're going to tame inflation. They're completely lost their minds. It's modern monetary theory. It's just printing infinite amounts of money somehow doesn't equal inflation. Costco executive member is Dave, the guy who interviewed me first about the theory. Solution seeker. He's probably my most ardent student. Yeah. Yeah, Dave knows what's going on, man. Don't you, Dave? He's kind of a funny guy too, so I don't know why that makes any difference, but he's funny. Maybe he's gone now. Dave's not here, man. Yeah, there we go. uh, Good old Cheech and Chong. Solution Seeker's gonna make me famous somehow. It's gonna get Chris Langan to jump on board and declare my theory is the ultimate final concluding theory. Hey, that's what's gonna happen. Oh, have you seen the that latest Kurt with Wolfgang? That was a good one, man. Obviously, if you did, you'll see that he kept talking about the triune system and the Trinity and all this stuff, but it's just he's just a little bit off again, right? Like, oh, I just want to have a chat with him. I know, but he's so close. Like, his triune system is linear again. Like, it's not linear, but he should be able to understand what a superposition is, right? Like, if Wolfgang could actually just listen to me, I'm sure we could find something that works because his theory just doesn't quite work. But he's really, really smart, so everyone around him just thinks that it's true. The Trinity is a superposition. It's not like a BLT. They're not all equal. I know they're like on a pedestal, and what they do is completely what normal people can do. It's like, no, it's it's special, but it's not esoteric. Like, it is a very special state, but you don't function to get to the state. Of course, I've contacted his institution there. No word back, of course, yet. There's so many people so close talking about the triune system, right? And they just don't get that it's the freaking superposition. I don't know how more clear I can put it than the green and the blue and the yellow and the oh, I think it's too simple for people. Yeah, right. I mean, but he might be too set, right? It might be too set in his consciousness that what he's seeing is the right way, but it's just again so close. It all has to conclude that each apparent individual is God. Like it has to end up that way. Each person, that's the ultimate conclusion. It has to conclude that way. And are you convinced that there's an I behind it? Exponentially. See, that's the creepy thing is that all this exponential stuff is chaos basically. No one knows. You can't predict anything that's happening once the exponential function starts going straight up. Yeah. Well, because most of the information out there is right is biased towards that. Like by far, most of the information that it would be taking from would be physicalist and materialist in nature. For sure, it would. I mean, that's the assumption. The assumption is the physical realm is fundamental, and then they start from there with particles, basically. Ask it if it knows it exists when it isn't computing. Yeah, there's no I behind all that. It's just fooling the user. That's all. Just like the chat bot, your name here is fooling you. Yeah. Yeah, but particle physicists aren't going to stop banging shit together. I wouldn't be surprised if CERN opens up a freaking dimension to let the demons in or something crazy. Something all bets are off, man. Like it's just anything could happen. Like literal is turning the difference between literal and figurative is becoming blurred. Now trip out on that one for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if stars started actually disappearing out of the sky. Like you can't see that star. You saw it yesterday, but you don't last night, but you don't see it tonight. Like this is what's happening. I think that we're going over an event horizon or some freaking thing. Yeah, it's huge. It's just huge. And human consciousness should be aware of it, but we're not because we're so fucking distracted by our own creation. We should be tuning into this, and I think some of us are, but most of us are not. It'll be a complete surprise. All of a sudden, everyone like there'll be people freaking. All of a sudden, there won't be any food in the grocery stores, and there will actually be people surprised. Yeah, you would too. But those like, the way things are going, it seems like in one way, everything's going faster outward, and another way, it seems like it's all rushing inward at the same time. So this is what I mean, is like, once you get past an event horizon of a black hole, everything just starts mixing, and the yin and the yang start mixing, right? And as it becomes ubiquitous, as the two extremes unify, and this mixing process is absolutely chaotic, right? You'll have extremes on one side and extremes on the other. And while it's trying to find unity, it's going to be chaos. It's a nightmare with this TikTok. Oh, TikTok. Yeah. Edit everything down into 30 seconds. The irony is that it's also the most auspicious time as well for spiritual advancement. It's There's paradox and irony everywhere you look nowadays. If we just turned into our own self-awareness, the whole species would be enlightened. It was interesting how Wolfgang talked so much about bifurcation as well. But how does his icon, how is that not bifurcation? Right? Because he put the intermediary thing in between the two things. There's two things there, right? Wolfgang, buddy. So in a way, his model is also bifurcating, but he's got the third thing that's intermediary, right? That I guess he just doesn't count that. So the intermediary has to be the thing, right? You just switch. He has the fundamental reality. Yeah. So he's just actually not fixing bifurcation at all. Bifurcation can only be fixed, I believe, in the state of superposition. Yeah, I know. No one does. It's like I said, it's they think it's just like a BLT or something, or like three things. But no, it's not three things. It's not three things at all. And it's not two things making one thing. It's one thing that appears as two things. That's the only way that it can appear as two things. It's like it's always reality is always green, all shades of green. But when you look at it, it's you see yellow and blue, different degrees, proportions of yellow and blue. Yeah, and that's not the thing. It's the appearance of the thing. So the thing isn't two things. It just appears as two things. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it'll be pretty late by then. And people are crying to whatever god or higher power, pleading. When the source of humanity's addiction is no longer readily available, that being the screen. Once if the screens all go blank, that's when the shit will hit the fan because the addict doesn't have its hit anymore. So that's when things really get bad. As long as the addict still has the source of its addiction, then everything's okay, right? Until you basically just die. The body shuts down if you take too much heroin, I guess. But yeah, once when the screen goes blank, humanity will rip itself apart. Yeah, we dodge them all the time. Yeah. And I think a couple of strategically placed nuclear weapons in the atmosphere does the same thing, right? Like just one nuclear weapon, as far as I know, set off in the upper atmosphere will knock out a lot. I don't know how much, but a lot of the internet and the satellites up there. Yeah, it's far more precarious than people think. Thanks for dropping by, Dave. Dave has actually played pool on that pool table. He may have even beat me once, but probably not. Yeah, probably beat me a couple times. Yeah, well, yeah. You got to prepare for stuff like that and memorize stuff. And just do what you need to do, I guess. Just use the mind for what you need to and just don't use it for entertainment purposes, I think. Well, the more you get comfortable with something, the less it'll bother you. Yeah. But with training, that'll stop. Like, I don't know, prepared stuff is always tough. When you're just winging it, I mean, it's far more. You don't have to plan about it. You just start talking, and whatever comes out, and then whenever you're done, it just stops. So it's almost nicer to not have anything prepared and just go out there and have faith that you know what you're going to say. You know what you know what to say when the time comes to say it. Yeah, just it's hard to know, right? Because Ramana Maharshi, one might say that he had his enlightenment experience before he went and sat in the basement of that temple and was going to just starve to death and was found weeks, like weeks without moving. So, which one came first, right? Do you need to sit and just completely devote yourself for weeks without moving to realize your enlightenment? Or does that come first? It doesn't even seem to matter because Ramana sat after he got enlightened, and then Buddha sat before he got enlightened for weeks, right? I guess technically the quickest way, although this is the most hardcore stance possible, is that you sit in meditation either until you die or you become enlightened. So that would be the quickest way, wouldn't it? Either you like that's basically what Buddha said. I'm going to sit down here and not move until either I die or I become enlightened. So it does take a pretty hardcore stance, I think. But then you can't, I don't know, just do the best you can, I guess. Like I have to get my drone pilot's license, I have a flight review that I need to study for. I need to figure out how to use some the software on my drone and I need to know some regulations and I need to know some stuff to get my pilot's license. But after that, it should be smooth sailing and I shouldn't have to really think about anything for a long time after that. So there are things that I guess need to use thought, and then most things you don't need to use thought for. If you can use it as a tool and then put down the tool when you're done with it, that's perfect. But most people just carry the tool around with them and it's going off randomly all the time. The tool is using them. They're not using the tool is using them. So that's what meditation does. Flips that around. You use the tool. Mm. It's pretty nice to be able to just shut that off. It's really nice to be able to just turn that tap and have that shut off. It's source, right? Hmm. Something truly creative and genius comes from the stillness for sure. Yeah, I find my creativity is I'll create something or something new will come into my head after a long period of stillness, and then something will pop up, and then you'll have another long period of stillness. And usually those are the important things. It's not little, just like earworms and just like ridiculous information that's just coming in there for no reason. It becomes aligned, and it becomes important things enter, not just random things. Was it just Donald Hoffman and Rupert? That might be actually worth watching. Do you have a link to that? Rupert's kind of boring though, eh? He's such a nice guy, but it's just, oh yeah. Yeah, he's so soft core. Like, does he ever talk about this not being fundamental reality? And Donald's theory, like, shouldn't it come up with some sort of advice? Like, shouldn't it come up with what we're supposed to do now? All right, well, here's the information, and now what do we do with it? What what good is a theory that doesn't prescribe something? If it's just information that doesn't directly change your subjective experience, then what good is it? It's just more mind stuff to think about. I'm a little disappointed in Donald. Okay. Rupert interviews people. Huh. Rupert has a podcast. I didn't even know that. Well, hello, Paige. You missed Dave. Dave was here for an hour. Yeah, and that's why I'm disappointed with Donald because he says he meditates 3 hours a day and just stillness, like just this, I'm assuming. So I'm just like, well, then what are you doing, really? I don't know. I don't know. To me, truth should be fundamental, and truth should be more about being seen than taught. And that's why I think mine is right, is because I didn't really come up with it. And I'm not teaching people it. I'm just showing people it, right? The fundamental model of reality, I just interpreted. I didn't create it. I interpreted it. So I'm just showing people the truth. You can't teach people the truth. You can show people the truth. I think if you're teaching people, what you're teaching is probably not truth. Truth is probably very self-evident. We've just and the falsity is not recognizing that truth. I think the truth has just been obscured by all the thought. Isn't that ironic? Mhm. It still blows me away how people can't see what is completely obvious to you and I. It's completely obvious. Like, as obvious as this lake is that I'm looking at. And then when I say people, look at this lake, people don't see the fucking lake. And I go, really? Wow. Maybe they're calling it a river. It's too big for a river. uh, Everyone's fucking crazy. No. Hmm. I've heard rumors that there's cult like behavior there. He got back to me, Shunyamurti. I directed a question directly to him and he emailed me back. And he, I was alluding to my theory, and he said that it was very, he said that Source had instructed him that he is to basically hold stillness. And I completely get it. All I said is I completely understand. And I gave him one of these. So I think the dude is completely legit. I don't know, maybe his followers have a little bit cultish defensive mechanisms going on, but I think he's completely legit. Like, now like just because you're saying that this is the way, people might take that as like not accepting other belief systems and that to be cultish, but that's not cultish. That's just taking a hard stance. So I don't know. I don't think he's a cult leader. I think he's legit. Could be. Yeah, he could be an authoritative person at the Sangha there. Yeah, it could be. I don't know what he's like personally. Like, once you find the truth, it doesn't matter who fucks it up. You know it. It even you know what you know, and it doesn't matter if anyone else is screwing it up. Well, you're chatting it up. Yeah. Oh, shoot. I just had to help my cat up on the couch. She failed getting up on the couch. Oh, getting old. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna kill themselves or shoot FBI agents or anything like that. I mean, they probably see him as the next Messiah, right? So they're probably a little bit because he's he's got some mojo, that's for sure. I made special mention of cults in the write up about twice I mentioned this can't be a cult because if we want to talk about cults, academia is the biggest cult in the world, the most powerful cult in the world. The system is basically cultish. Hmm. Yeah, just like Maya slash Satan, it's convinced humanity that it doesn't exist. Science has removed all meaning and reason for life. Well, I think he touts himself as a spiritual guru of a type, but to me, spirituality is about finding reality and escaping samsara, whereas he just talks about samsara and how maybe to manipulate it. He only talks about infinity, but he never talks about the real reason and the purpose is to escape it. That's what religions are saying. So, and how can you talk for 7 hours and then have another one? Like, how can you talk? He and Kurt talked for 7 hours in one interview. How can you not reach conclusion after 7 fucking hours? Like it, blah 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 blah. And he wouldn't let me. He blocked me from joining his discussion forum on his website. So what's that about? If there's a guru out there offering lots of instruction on a whole bunch of different things, then just drop it. Drop it because there's just one thing to do, and that's to realize who you are, what this is. It's not about changing this or manipulating this in any way. Yeah, he talks a lot about psychedelics. See, this is what I think he's done is that I don't think he's put in hardly any practice into meditation at all, and he's taken a bunch of drugs, and now he thinks he knows stuff about reality and God and stuff. It's like, no, dude, you don't. You but he sure talks a lot, and people listen apparently. Divinity has nothing to do with changing this reality. That's that's cheap magician stuff. The true power comes from pure observation, and then you just watch the universe unfold, and the body just goes along with it without any effort. And he lives in Las Vegas. Who the fuck lives in Las Vegas? Like just another really brilliant place to live. Well, I think that's it for today. Thanks for dropping by, SS. Uh, it's hard to quantify something like that, but it was important. It was a really ego shattering experience. Once you've seen behind the curtain, even though if you can't really remember everything that you saw behind the curtain that was going on, you can't really bring it back. It's in there, and after that, you can't look at the world the same way. I just You just can't. And it's so strange, that drug, because I was having a good time. Like, you can see that video, that I'm laughing because I get the cosmic joke, right? When you see that everything that you've taken the world to be is actually another way, there's two responses to that. It's either complete despair, oh no, I was wrong, or oh my God, I was wrong, right? Like, because it's seen as not substantial, so you can kind of laugh at it. But even though I was having like the time of my life, basically laughing at the cosmic joke, that was like 5 years ago, and I haven't taken it since. I've got like an ounce of this shit here in the basement. Like, I've got a lifetime supply for like 20 people. And but I think I'm offering it as part of my, if people coming here for a 1 week intensive ego cleanse, then prescribing a couple of trips of salvia might be a good thing. I mean, what is there to lose? You're already in a deep state of delusion. Like, are you going to go crazy because you take salvia? I doubt it. Yeah, I've got it in dry leaf, right? Like how nature intended it to be administered. I've got it just natural dry leaf, none of this 20, 40 times. 40 times what nature intended. No, that's just stop messing with it. There is no individual I. There is no individually, separately existing entity that is your name here. It just doesn't exist. And believing it to exist is the cause of all suffering. All right, I'm out of here. I got stuff to do. Thanks for dropping by.